I think my grandma has this dress.
No, neither.
I feel like Harry Potter. Too librarian. Too Bono?
No.
No. No. Big no.
Yes.
I look a little bit like a bumblebee. How long you been in these parts?
Blah. If sadness had a color. I bought this? Your Honor, I object.
No. This is so much like my dad.
That is the ticket.
Support for KQED Live comes from Berkeley Rep and the San Francisco Symphony.
Disproportionate impact of
more than half of black business owners
and disproportionate.
Somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, for the curators of the culture, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Apply for business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us.
Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? ¿Dónde está Santa Claus? And the toys that he will leave. Mamacita, oh, where is Santa Claus? I look for him because it's Christmas Eve. I know that I should be sleeping, but maybe he's not far away. So out of the window I'm peeping, hoping to see him in his sleigh. I hope he won't forget to crack his castanets and to his reindeer say, oh Pancho, oh Vixen, oh Pedro, oh Blitzen, ole, 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 ole. Santa Claus. Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? Oh, where is Santa Claus? It's Christmas Eve. I know that I should be sleeping, but maybe he's not far away. So out of the window I'm peeping, hoping to see him in his sleigh. I hope he won't forget to crack his castanets and to his reindeer say, oh Pancho, oh Vixen, oh Pedro, oh Blitzen, ole, 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 ole. Santa Claus. Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? Oh, where is Santa Claus? It's Christmas Eve. Oh, where is Santa Claus? It's Christmas Eve. All right, Mamacita, I go sleep now.
Wow, let's give it up for Dulce de Leche. They will be back to co-host this show. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Muy buenas noches a todos. My name is Leonela Torres. I am a member of KQED's Community Advisory Panel. We are a group of community members that support KQED in community building. Learn more about our work at kqed.org/CAP. Now, you do have aprons available, so if you don't want to get dirty, make sure you put your aprons on and you wear your gloves. Or if you want to be dirty, no problem. If we bring value to your everyday life, I encourage you to consider becoming a KQED member. You can find out more about how to become a member at kqed.org/donate. And for those of you joining us for the first time, KQED is Northern California's PBS NPR member station. KQED Live is our new multi-platform events program that produces screenings, talks, performances, and food tastings based on KQED's mission to inform, inspire, and involve. You can learn more about that at kqed.org/live. So we want to thank the season sponsors that make KQED Live possible. San Francisco Symphony, SF MoMA, Comcast Business, and Berkeley Rep. We are so grateful for their commitment to supporting our mission and civic and cultural engagement here in the Bay Area. Yeah, give it up for our sponsors. Now let's introduce our two hosts for the evening. Dulce de Leche, the fabulous, yes, the fabulous and fierce Bay Area drag queen who will sweep you off your feet with her mesmerizing, soulful performance style inspired by 50s and 60s divas. This sassy and brassy babe isn't afraid to show off her charm, proudly strutting her stuff as a member of San Francisco's most revered drag house, the House of More. Get ready to be dazzled and delighted by her captivating performances and flirtatious flair. Now the next one, Alan Chazarro, is the author of This Is Not Frank Ocean cover album, Black Lawrence Press 2019. Piñata Theory, Black Lawrence Press 2020, and Notes from the Eastern Span of the Bay Bridge, Ghost City Press 2021. He is a graduate of June Jordan's Poetry for the People program at UC Berkeley and a former, heard it over here, and a former Lawrence Ferlinghetti Fellow at the University of San Francisco. He writes about sports, food, art, music, education, and culture while repping the Bay on Twitter and Instagram. Let's welcome Alan on the stage.
Gracias, Nelly. Bienvenidos a todos. Thank you for being here tonight. We are celebrating the holidays with tamales. We have some amazing chefs here. You have food to make. It's going to be a great time. I'm super excited. But before we get into it, we had our Latinx engagement producer, Paloma Albarca, and our No Crumbs host, Josh D. Kalangan, with Alex Tran. They actually went to each restaurant. They tried the food. They made a little video just to kind of preview what you're about to get into. So we're going to start by taking a look at the screen and seeing what that's about, and then we'll get back to it. Thank you.
We are trying Sabor's vegan tamales.
Josh and I got a chance to visit 3 Bay Area chefs who all rep a different version of a tamal from across Latin America. From Luis Flores with Sabor to Victor Aguilera from Arepas in BC and Anthony Salguero from Popoca. We got a chance to dive into each of their culture's flavors.
Hi, my name is Luis Alfredo Flores. I'm the executive chef here at Sabor in Hayes Valley, San Francisco. We are going to be making a vegan tamal colorado. Este tamal es de Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua. Me estoy yendo muy tradicional, como lo hacía mi mamá y mi familia. Sí nací en El Paso, pero crecimos en Juárez. Está siempre la conexión en la frontera, ¿no? De que tienes las dos culturas. Cuando los escuchaba, que estábamos jugando fútbol en la calle, entonces pasan con los micrófonos. Tamales son de rojo, son de verde y de dulce.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Come and get a closer look at this meat here that's made out of soy.
My name is Victor Aguilera. I'm a chef and I'm the owner of Arepas in BC here in San Francisco. It's the tradition. It's carrying a long time of family memories and really bringing those who are far from home, make them feel closer to Venezuela. I bring it back around and then that should seal old size of the hallaca.
It's like you almost don't need to dress it with more like sauce or anything because it's already in there.
From like the meat juices and like the veggies and stuff like that, right?
My name is Anthony. I am the chef and owner of Popoca in Oakland. We are a Salvadoran-inspired restaurant. I'm going to make tamales pisques, which are tamales that are very popular in El Salvador. My father's Salvadorian, but I grew up here, so I have a lot of influences from cooking in California. They take so much work, and we put so much effort into them. It goes to show how much work we're willing to do for our friends and family, how much we love them and care about them. I think it's a big part of our culture.
Wow.
It's really cool to see how like countries across Latin America
have similarities, but they all have their different, points of uniqueness within that, and that's like super cool to me.
Yes! All this tamale talk's making me hungry. Are you guys hungry? Yes. Are you guys ready to make some tamales?
Oh.
Yes. Well, I'm so honored to be here co-hosting this event tonight with Alan. Let's hear it for Alan, my co-host, everybody.
AKA Tamarindo.
Tamarindo, if you know him. Shoot. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and dive right in. I'm ready to start these tamales, start meeting these handsome men, and see what they're doing in their kitchens. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first talented chef, Victor Aguirre. Yeah, oh, you know Victor. A friend. Arepas in BC was born the 20th of April of 2020 during the COVID pandemic. Chef Victor created the online takeout and delivery service for arepas and empanadas with the mission of sharing a little piece of his home and his childhood in Venezuela with the Bay Area. Since then, the business has grown and you can find Victor at regular pop-ups and catering events, so definitely check him out at arepasandbc.com. Please put your hands together for Chef Victor!
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Come on, it's right here, right here.
You're in the hot seat.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Appreciate it.
So we tricked you. This is a tamal night, but we're starting with something called hallacas, which my parents are from Mexico, and I went home and I asked my dad, like, hey, do you know about hallacas? He's like, no, I've never heard about them. So I'm excited to learn from you. I think we all are. Can we just start off by giving us a breakdown of what are hallacas? What does that involve? What's in them? What makes them unique to Venezuela?
Okay, so I'll correct you, and it's hallacas.
Oh, see, I don't even know.
So hallacas are from Venezuela. We usually make them during the holidays. And when people ask me, oh, what's an hallaca? The easiest way to explain it is like, have you ever had a tamal? And when they tell me yes, then it goes down from there. I tell them, hey, this is a really loaded tamal with, it has chicken, it has beef, it has pork. And it's cooked with culinary techniques that's got African and French essence with a Caribbean flair. So it's a very savory and sweet flavor bomb that you're about to experience today, and I'm very, very excited. And we usually, this is a dish that's cooked with your whole family and during this season, so I know that it'll make you feel warm and at home.
So it's like a super tamal.
It's like a super tamal.
Because a tamal in Mexico might have carne or chicken or something, but this has all of it.
It has all three, yeah. When people are like, oh, so which one does it have? No, it has all three.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it has some olives, some raisins, a little some vegetables inside too. That finishes the job as well.
And it's wrapped in a banana leaf.
So it comes. The masa is infused with onoto oil, which is kind of like achiote. And everybody uses a different type of fat to give more flavor to the dough. And then you put the filling inside the dough. The dough gets wrapped inside a plantain leaf. The plantain leaf gives it a nice depth flavor. It's nice and warm. And then it's wrapped and boiled for about 30 to 45 minutes. It can be frozen and it lasts for months. I had a guy buy hallacas from me, and then he sent them to me. He sent me a picture a year later. He's like, look what I'm having right now. And in my mind, I'm like, is that safe? And he's like, no, it was delicious. It was really good. Thank you. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, that's good to know. But so they're quite an amazing dish.
Yeah, you should be taking notes, by the way, because you're gonna make one. Tamales and hallacas, se dice.
Yes, hallacas.
Sorry, Mom, for mispronouncing that word.
By a round of applause, who's had an hallaca before?
Oh, man.
One
person.
2, 3. Okay, well, you all are in for a treat.
Yep.
And something unique to you, Victor, is being in San Francisco in the Bay Area, Northern California, you've sort of started infusing and adding a twist, right, to what you do with your hallacas. Can you tell us what are some things you do here that might not be common in Venezuela when they're making hallacas for the holidays?
So one thing that I love about California and the Bay Area is that we have, we got a door open to like all these fresh farmers, and local products that I can go ahead and use for my food, and to really elevate it not only in a flavor way, but you can just test the freshness of like the food just coming out of your backyard. Out here, you know, I've been in the Bay Area for about 7 years. I moved here from Florida. I've been cooking for about 16 years, and I have to say the 7 years that I've been in the Bay Area, I've learned more than I thought I was ever gonna learn. You know, I moved here thinking, oh, I already know everything that I need to learn. Little did I know, I was just starting.
Shout out the Bay Area.
Yeah, I was just starting. So the Bay Area really built me, and with the amazing chefs that I got to work out here, it really gave me the opportunity to give a twist and just elevate each dish that I bring from my country. So very, very, very happy being here.
And one of those ways I believe you do it is making a vegan variation, right?
Yeah, correct. So again, in the Bay Area, you have to be open to everybody, and we not only have we not only have like a meat option, we have a vegan option. The vegan option is made with jackfruit, which is I'm not sure if everybody knows what a jackfruit is, but it's a really big spiky fruit. It kind of looks like durian. It's really hard to work with. It's super sticky. If you ever work with it, make sure you have oil in your hands and your knife, because you're gonna have a really hard time cleaning after. And we sear it, we grill it, and we braise it, and we use it as a substitute as well for our vegan fans.
And do you also do any other types of twists on your food, or?
So a couple years ago, I was walking on, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen Chopped on the Food Network. I actually won Chop 420, which was the first time they introduced cannabis into, thank you.
Champion up here.
They introduced cannabis into the Food Network. So here and there, I do private dinners infusing food with cannabis as well.
Awesome. And one of the other sort of themes of the night is the holidays, which are typically associated in Latino households with tamales or hallacas in this case. So can you maybe tell us about a Venezuelan holiday? What else comes with the hallaca? What other dishes, drinks, music? Who's there in your kitchen?
So this is like one of my favorite things. I actually just did a concert 3 days ago. There was like 180 people. And I got to do the main plate, which has, you have different options. We have one that's pernil, which is braised pork. Then we have asado negro, which is a blackened beef, roasted beef, and it gets literally burnt on the outside, and then deglazed with a special Pamela sugar and red wines, and is served with usually ensalada de gallina, which is like a potato salad with chicken. I did a vegetarian version this time, so people that have both options, and then it goes with pan de jamon. The pan de jamon is one of my favorite things to make because it's a freshly dough roll. It has bacon, it's got ham, it has raisin, it has olives, and then you got that like a sweet Pamela glaze, and it bakes beautifully. And that with hallacas, a little ponche de crema, which is or coquito. It's amazing. It's to die for.
¿Por qué no me invitas? I haven't had ponche, or I need to try these. Thank you for being with us tonight and presenting some of that.
Of course, thank you for having me. It's an honor to really display dishes that are not really known to everybody, and to really give the opportunity to other people to try. It feels great.
Definitely. One of my favorite things of Latinidad is just how diverse we are as a people. The further south you go, there's more bread and other sorts of ingredients, and we get to experience some of that tonight. For our next part of the evening, we're actually going to move to the demo. So Chef Victor is going to move over here and show us how he makes one of these hallacas. And our lovely Dulce is going to be in the audience taking questions while Chef Victor shows us how it's done.
All right, I hope everybody's ready for this.
So for you in the audience, this is where you're going to get a little bit messy perhaps, but that's fine. You should have something labeled as ingredients number 1, and that's going to go along with what we have up here. So take a moment to get that out.
Let me see here. I believe this one's number 1.
I believe everybody has gloves. I think it'd be a lot easier for everybody to wear gloves for this one.
I believe it's the one with the lemons. There's lemons, right?
I'm so sorry.
They're not lemons. They're actually, that's the masa.
Yeah, so this is the
Don't feel bad. I thought they were potatoes.
Yes, that is it. That is the masa.
So inside of here, you're going to have your guiso. You're going to have your meat, and you can separate it. You're going to have oil, there's gonna be raisins and olives, and then you're gonna have onions and peppers as well. And then these are your dough balls that you're gonna work with. So we're gonna start, is everybody ready? Yep, all right, so we'll start by picking one of the leaves. Usually you wanna grab like a nice solid looking one like this. This is a great start. And then you can add a second one right on top. Even if it's ripped a little bit, it's okay. You're just using it as support.
So just a quick pause here. This is my first time seeing it made as well. So there's going to be multiple banana leaves, and we're going to sort of layer them.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So we're just building some strength for the first layer. Now this is where it gets fun and messy. We're going to grab the oil. And this oil is infused with achiote, but we call it onoto.
Yum.
You could see on the screen here if you need a guider.
And you can just rub your leaf. I'm rubbing under this one, so the one on
Chef,
top
hold
kind
on
of like
just
sticks.
1 second. Everybody is pulling out their leaves.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the oil on their hands.
Thank you, Dulce.
I am here to speak for the people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they need just 1 little second. Can you tell us the difference between a plantain leaf and a banana leaf?
So the plantain and the banana are two different things. You have the banana, which is a fruit. You can eat it raw and it's nice, sweet. The plantain, you can eat it raw, but it's super starchy. I usually wait till they're nice and ripe to eat the plantain. But both leaves have both very similarities, and both can be chopped down to be used for hallaca wrapping. When I lived in Venezuela, I had a couple farms. Well, my parents did, and we just chopped the fresh leaves off the tree and used it for the hallacas.
And that's where your leaves came from tonight, folks.
That would be really beautiful.
So we have the leaves laid down.
So we have the leaves laid down, and while we still have oil in our hands, we're gonna grab the dough and just kind of like give it a nice
little twirl in the palms.
A little twirl
there.
in your palms, sort of like getting moist again. And then we're going straight into the plantain leaf, and we're gonna start slamming it down in rotation.
While the chef is doing that, I just see in the audience, folks are still catching up. So we have the plantain leaves, first one laid out, second one laid out. Rub a little oil on those, get it nice and smooth, I'm guessing, so it doesn't stick too much to the leaf when it's done.
Oh, it can stick. It doesn't matter because once it cooks, it will separate. But imagine you're playing with Play-Doh. You're just laying your masa down and you're pressing it and making a nice flat disc. And we're gonna go ahead and try to press it until it becomes a quarter inch thin. It should be okay. And if you're having difficulties getting that thin, that's okay. You can just keep it nice and thick.
And what goes into the oil here?
So the oil has achiote seeds, and the seeds get cooked with the oil, and it gives it that beautiful orange color that is also used for the dough itself.
Beautiful.
So I'm gonna give everybody some time so they get...
Chef, we have a question right here. Stand up, my love, so everybody can see you. What was your question?
How do you prepare the plantain leaves? Are they frozen or fresh, and do you boil them first?
So the plantain leaves, we clean them first, and then after they get cleaned first, they come in packages, and then they come frozen. We clean them first, and then they get roasted. We burn them until they get soft because the plantain leaves itself is super hard. So you want to cut the hard stem off it, and then you burn it maybe about 8 seconds on each side, depending on how skinny the leaf is. You have some leaves that are gonna be nice and thick. You can cook those for a little longer, but just remember that when you're doing like anything with fire, you wanna be nice and fast and super careful. It's one of the hardest part during the preparation for your hallacas. That's a really great question. Thank you.
You got another question. Hold on.
Oh, you have another question?
This one right here, she's yelling at you.
How are we all doing with the masa? Are we ready for the next step? Yes. All right, so we're gonna grab our filling, and we're gonna go ahead and it should be enough for 2 hallacas in there, and you just wanna put it right on the middle.
So I'm getting a note from upstairs here that the audience, you should all be having 2 people at each table should be working on each type of tamal. So that's something that we're getting here.
Well, this table made
Sorry
baby
about that.
tamales, so don't play. They are community. They made it work.
It's all right. We'll make it work, and we got some
Okay.
we got some extra leaves if anyone
Sorry
needs
about
some.
that.
So once the protein is down, we're gonna go ahead with our olives. You wanna put 3 olives inside, whichever way you want, and 3 raisins.
So now that we have that sorted out, and sorry, that's on us here. This is our first time, by the way, doing a sort of live food demo in this capacity, so we appreciate your patience.
I'm sorry, it's my first day.
We've never made a tamal before, or an hallaca.
Okay, so with the side containers that you have, you're gonna go ahead and put a little bit on the inside. It should look like this.
Can you all see that on the screen here?
Look at those juices. Oh my gosh.
It does look extra juicy up there. So we have olives, raisins.
We have olives, we have
onions.
raisins, red bell peppers, some onions. Usually we get a little shredded chicken, but I already put the chicken inside with the protein, so you don't have to worry about that part.
Nice.
When everybody's ready with their filling, we're gonna start with the challenging part, which is wrapping the hallaca. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to all catch up.
2 more shakes, 2 more shakes.
Do you have any special tips for how to sort of, like a certain amount that should be kept in mind when they're doing this so it doesn't overload or something?
So usually I try to keep like a handful. Like a handful should be enough. The sealing part, no matter how messy it might look, as long as it's sealed and we put the leaf on it, then it should have no problems cooking.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Chef, before we seal that, we do have one question from the audience.
Yes, please.
Sir, would you mind standing up and asking the question to our chef?
Hello, chef.
Hi.
So I'm a vegetarian. Besides jackfruit, what other options? Jackfruit's hard to get here, perhaps. What other options would you use for the filling?
I would use mushrooms. You get like a nice woody flavor. Some mushrooms, some leeks, some nice like. I think I would stay with the mushrooms and some rhubarb. Some root vegetable. So you get some type of nice texture in there as well. For the filling, for the vegan filling, I use jackfruit. I use chickpeas. The chickpeas get roasted and crispy, so you have like a nice crispy touch inside.
Perfect. You excited?
Yes, glad.
Great question.
Thank you.
All right, so we have our filling laid out. This is the tough part you said coming up?
Yeah, this is the tough part. So we're gonna grab one side, very gentle, and we're gonna pick up and we're gonna go to the other half. You can put your hand in the middle to hold your filling inside. And I'm gonna do this slowly. And I'm just gonna wrap this. I'm just gonna press this down, kind of like if it was an empanada. And then slowly, very gentle, I'm gonna take the layer of plantain leaf that I just took down, and it should come off slowly.
So we're basically folding the masa into a empanada-like shape.
Correct,
you're
correct.
saying.
And if you see here, it might break, and that's okay. If it breaks, it's okay. Don't feel too bad if it breaks. Mine broke just now. Now we're gonna start with the other. Once you fold it in half, we're gonna start with the ends. So we're gonna fold this end down, bring this one back up. You seal this up right here, and then we're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing.
Does anybody have a perfect unbroken hallaca in the audience? Okay, neither do we.
So now, so it's okay, because that broken part, we're gonna fix it right now. Now we're going to the part that we haven't folded yet, and we're gonna fold that in. We're gonna close it like this. Again, we press it, and then we're gonna go to our sides. We're gonna wrap that up. You can twist it if you want to make it easier on you. I'm gonna get this other end and close it, and then I'm just gonna fold. Don't put any pressure, just fold it. You don't wanna put any pressure on the plantain leaf because the plantain leaf is very, very fragile. So now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice round, and it'll look like this. And if you wanna grab another plantain leaf to give it an extra seal, I always do a couple layers of those. So once you do the first layer, it's really easy after that because now you can just...
If we could just take a moment here, I see a few people are still doing the first fold. So we have the initial fold across the middle.
So we have the initial fold, and I'll put this one on the side and do this one really fast here.
So essentially you're doing 4 folds, one across the top.
Yep.
Both ends, another across the top.
You're going to close it like a little box. So I'm going to go ahead and do one real quick.
We got about 2 minutes here, Chef. So.
Oh. All right.
Look at him go. So flat masa.
Flat masa.
Fillings.
Filling goes inside.
I just want to say that there is no ugly tamale.
Yeah.
Everybody. It'll all taste the same.
I'm gonna go with the fold now, guys.
So you fold once across the top.
So we fold once across the top.
Like a taco or empanada.
We seal. Like an empanada. It should look like an empanada. And then we fold the sides.
So across the top, the bottom.
And then we go to the side again. And then once this is done, we flip it.
How are we looking out there, Dulce? It's hard to see.
I just keep on staring at the tamal.
Yeah.
We go both.
I'm like, that's how you do it.
Looks like I see a few more wrapped here. Okay, we're looking good.
Okay.
People are ready to wrap it. They're holding their
All right.
strings.
All right, so let's do the string now. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up.
You did that in about 60 seconds, Chef. Well done.
All right, so now we're going to grab our string. So I hope you guys are good at tying your shoes. So with the string, you want to grab it and stretch it. Careful with the person next to you.
Yeah. I'm too close.
And then you want to put it under real quick. And then this is going to go, we're crossing it.
So under, across.
Under, across. When you get this across movement, you want to pull it up like this to this side.
Under, across, and a bit of a twist
and then over, I flip it, and now I'm gonna go around it again. But I'm gonna try to aim for the. So now once I do this and I cross over again, I'm crossing over the rope. I'm doing it on this other side.
This turns out to be the hardest part. It looks.
Yep. And then again, I flip it. I go around again. I flip it. And if it becomes too hard for you, you can just we'll cut the rope in little pieces and do it one by one.
With that being said, do we have like a pair of scissors or a knife?
Yeah.
Extra strings.
It sounds like we're short on strings.
I have see.
I think for this, we may need to revisit it because we do have other tamaleros.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this was a...
We will not leave you stringless and unfinished.
I'm glad I got to show you, though, that this is an act of labor and love. It takes a lot of time to put this together. Usually, you're doing this with your family, and every member of your family has a job to do, whether it's put the masa down, or put the food down, but everybody has a job to do. And this gets split in between the family, and at the end, you go up the ranks, and the more that you go up the ranks, the easier it gets.
So what Chef Victor is saying is don't feel bad because what you just did in a few minutes is what it would take an entire family to do in an evening. So I know it does feel a bit rushed. But we will come back to these and we'll have other opportunities. Yeah. It looks like from my perspective, most people have a wrapped tamal. The stringing does look challenging being up close. So give it your best shot. We'll come back. He's going to stick around after the show and we can answer some questions. So if we can give it up for Chef Victor.
Thank you. Should I tell him how to cook it real quick?
Yeah, please do.
If you're going to cook this at home, make sure your water is boiling. You can freeze it before you even cook it, but make sure your water is boiling and cook it for about 35 to 40 minutes, and it should come out perfect. Thank you, everybody, for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And like I said, he'll be sticking around after the show, so if you have questions, he can get to you. Thank you, Chef. So this is the part of the evening, folks. where I get to share what I typically do. So I am a food journalist and a music writer here at KQED. I typically am behind my laptop writing things, but it's always fun to be up here with an audience. And this year is especially important for me and special because it's going to be my first Noche Buena, which is what we celebrate in my household, similar to a Christmas, where I will have my baby boy next to me, who's 10 months old, and I'll shovel his first spoonful of tamal if he wants it. So I've been thinking a lot about what do tamales mean, and what do they bring to the household, the tradition, the origin. And as you can see right now with the hallaca, it's not easy to make, and it usually takes an entire family to make it happen correctly. So I read a bunch of other writers that spoke about what tamales mean to them and hallacas, and I just gathered a bunch of different language that spoke to me, and I'm going to read that to you as a found poem right now. And while I'm reading it, if you'd like to sort of quietly try rewrapping what you need, this is the perfect time for that. So here's the found poem. I'll call it Tamalada. It's a labor-intensive process, an opportunity to talk and share an age-old tradition. It's a bonding experience that connects family members to each other and with loved ones who are no longer living. When families get together to make tamales, it turns into a party. It's not a chore anymore. Tamales restore a sense of well-being. Tamales remind all those who partake in the eating of another culture's foods to be aware of the meaning behind the cuisine and to be conscious about what it takes to get that food on the table. It's a family fellowship, a laughter-filled assembly line. Like all good rituals, there's a hierarchy and a system that has stood the test of time. And based on what we just experienced, there's probably somebody who specializes just in tying the things. Shout them out. It's a humbling initiation process. It's about having, quote, platinum cousins to teach us. The tamalada offers us a chance to teach younger relatives about their history. The preparation of tamales in the times of Aztecs was considered a cosmic culinary engagement where the maize had to be planted during a specific season, the moon phase, then grown and cultivated with water, sunlight, and song. During harvest season, it would be gathered, dried, and dekerneled. But the simplicity of the tamal is a ruse, requiring nimble fingers to wrap the palm-sized packages of dough and demanding watchful eyes over them while they steam, an ordeal that's best left for the holidays. It's a place for family members to share, whether good or bad. It's a ritual, a feast, a nourishing centerpiece. And after making so many, you're just giving tamales to everyone, to your friends, to your neighbors, and that feels really good, to give that happiness away. Gracias todos. That was a found poem. Using every word in that found poem was taken from something that I've been reading about other people talking about tamales, and I just put it all in one place. So now we're going to introduce our second chef with Dulce here. Not our second chef, but lovely still. We have Luis Flores, who's one half of Sabor. He runs that with his partner, Dani Rivera. It's a vegan tamalera and kitchen here in San Francisco. Dani can't be with us. She's actually in Michoacan right now with their son, but we're lucky to have Luis, and he's going to talk to us about the cosmic vibrations, veganism, and being centered through food. So if we can have Chef Luis meet us on stage, por favor. Welcome. So we have tamales, hallacas, poemas.
Thank you for having me.
Chefs, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So I mentioned that you and Dani are both vegan now. However, Dani is a lifelong vegan, and you became vegan after meeting her and working in restaurants. You're also both from the Texas-Mexico border, right? So can you just walk me through your personal journey, having grown up on the border in El Paso, What were tamales like for you at first, and how has that evolved having met Danny and now that you're vegan?
Right on. Well, well, first of all, my first memory, like having tamales around, is pretty much like around this time of year. Starting from today being like Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe. So from the 12th of December all the way through like the 6th of January, those are like my memories where tamales are always around the house. And I just remember like big pots of them being cooked at the house. Everybody would gather around making them. And it's mostly about like spending time with family and like making the guisado. You know, the guisado is what really makes the tamal. And they usually call it by like verde, tamales verdes, tamales rojos, or tamales de dulce. That's like where I come from, right? And it's usually referring to the sauce that it's cooked with. That's where you put most of your flavor with your guisado. And then, of course, the masa has to be really fresh and moist. And you can also add some of that sauce into your masa so it can give it some flavor, you know, either to your green one or to your red one. Yeah.
And now that that sounds delicious, by the way. If you haven't had the sweet tamal, they have like piña, the fresa,
raisins, yeah.
raisins. So that's very typical in Mexico. And typically, the tamales that you would get along the border are going to be, you know, made with lard, made with carne, and things like that, which is something that you no longer do as a chef, right? You're doing vegan tamales.
Correct.
Puro nada más, right? That's it.
Correct, yeah.
So can you tell me about what makes the vegan tamal? And also, I personally wanted to know, as somebody that grew up in a Latino household where meat is sort of revered, what was it like when you showed up and you're like, hey, we're going to try something different this year? Have you done that with your family?
Yes, actually, till the day. I mean, my family does get really like. It gets really interesting when I'm trying to bring a vegan, not just tamal, just a vegan option to our dinners, you know, or to our hangouts. And it's really like a challenge for me to get them to try.
This is real, guys. This is what it's like in a Latino house, really.
Yes, like, and then you'll of course hear a lot of like, yeah, like people's trying to like not make fun, but yeah, like, why do you do it like that? Why can't you just have the real deal, you know? And it's mostly like our, you know, talks about like trying to make them understand about like no suffering is involved in our cooking, you know, and it's getting mostly more and more into taking care of the planet, taking care of like our, you know.
Let's actually give this man a round of applause.
Taking care of
he literally has to go up against family members that will question and challenge and push back, and yet he still is doing it because of what he believes in, right?
Exactly. And most of anything, you know, there's a lot of like health issues right now with like different dieting and stuff like that. So we're definitely trying to help out in creating a plant-based diet accessible for everyone, not to feel weirded out, you know, and like only having to eat certain ingredients.
Definitely. And we'll see it in a moment here live at the demo, but what makes actually a vegan tamal? Like, what are the substitutes? What are you doing differently? Instead of pork, you're using this. How do you prepare the masa? Those kinds of things.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, number one, we use, instead of to substitute the meat, we're using a soy and wheat protein. That will give you, it will give you more of a meaty texture rather than, of course, we also use jackfruit to make other tamales, and then rajas con queso, which is pretty much just poblano pepper and cheese, and this vegan cheese, of course, which those are really popular as well. And then also I like them a lot, the rajas con queso tamales, and those are pretty much vegetarian. Just a lot of masa has lard. That makes it not vegetarian, right? So we use an oil substitute. You can use coconut oil for your, it would be the best one to use to incorporate the fattiness on the finished product. But pretty much you can just use any of your oil you have in house or your favorite kind that you want to use for that. incorporate it into your masa with a little bit of that sauce that you use on your guiso, on your guisado, and it's pretty much, it brings the masa to life.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's healthier and better for the soul, right? And one of your mottos is the cosmic sort of connection, right? Which is something that I came across when I was reading about the origins of tamales and going back to indigenous communities and using whatever local, literally hyper-local resources that they had, right?
Correct, yeah. So it's like, for me, I was reading a little bit more into the tamales before the show, right? Getting prepared. And I see they have like, it's one of the most ancient like dishes. They go all the way back to Mesoamerica times, and like, it's just so nice to still have them around, you know. And then like this time of year is when I'm actually more excited about trying them.
Yeah, and we get to try different kinds. It's a very sacred moment in a household to experience that and make them. Speaking of, we are thinking about the holidays, and the holiday season is upon us. Are there any certain traditions that you had growing up, or that Danny and you have created over time, since it sounds like not everybody has accepted the vegan tamales in your larger family? When you're thinking of the holidays, how are you spending them? Who's there? Is there any certain kind of music or drinks that you have along with the tamales?
Yes, well, it's pretty much a little bit of everything. Like, and I'd say every household has their own favorite dishes, and that's totally okay to bring them out. It could be spaghetti with meatballs for all you want, or like, you know, it could be, it's just as long as you have your favorite dishes along to go with it. I mean, pretty much it doesn't have any boundaries. I've seen my mom used to do a lot of like ponche. They call it ponche. It's like kind of like a hot cider. And I used to always see that around with the tamales. And presents, tamales, the family. Beautiful times. Yeah, corn heaven, as I say.
Yeah.
Just the smell of the corn, you know, since in our side of town, of the country, we use the corn husks more than anything for the tamales. You don't see a lot of the banana leaves. You will, but it's if probably people from like other states are coming to bring them.
Central America.
Like Oaxaca.
Yeah.
I know Oaxaca's a really big one on banana leaves, but tamales can just differ on your guisado. You know, if you have like, it can be beans and cheese.
Yeah, no, it's a very regional type of food that has a lot of variations. And on that note, we're going to see how they're made with the corn husk, correct?
Correct.
That's what you use, okay? And we're going to do the live demo.
Yeah, you ready?
Let's do it, yeah.
Audience, you ready?
We'll try again. You guys got this.
Come on, Chef Luis.
I hope everyone's ready.
Audience, you know the drill. We've done this before. I just want to remind everybody that there is enough ingredients for 2 people at the table to make the tamal. 2 people. I know we were being very communal earlier and sharing, and that's great. But just 2 tamales per table, please. Luis.
Yes.
Luis, Chef Luis. Can you please tell our home viewers and also our audience here how you make a vegan tamal?
Okay, vegan tamal. Right in front of you, you will see 2 containers of oil, 2 containers of our guisado, which is going to be our stuffing, and you're going to see 1 container of cheese that would go enough amount for the 2 tamales. Okay, this tamal traditionally is not as big tamal. From what I remember, like the tamales that we made, it's not too big. They're kind of like enough, like good size that you can actually have up to 3, you know, to try different sauces. Yeah, to try different kinds.
Luis, what's in this filling right here?
So on this filling, we brought this is our soy and wheat protein. It's stewed with potato, onion, garlic, and then our chile colorado sauce, which is pretty much with guajillo chiles and ancho chile is the one that I use for our sauce. So yeah, this is pretty much you'll see aunts or grandma making the guisado one day before making the tamales. So it sometimes takes around 2 days
Yes.
That way the guisado gets
You know,
enough flavor.
I made pozole once, and it has
Yeah.
those two chiles, and it takes 2 days. Everything takes 2 days in Mexico.
So you'll see right here in front, everything takes 2 days, yes. Even sometimes around 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Depending if you gotta go pay your water bill or.
Oh no.
Chef, we
Anyway.
do have our first question over here. You want to stand up, miss, and share your name and what your question is?
Hi, I'm Sandy, and I missed it. Did you put oil on the husk?
Oh, for this one, no, we're not. I haven't started. So we're gonna rub a little bit of oil on our gloves. I hope everybody's got gloves. We do have spoons, but it's better to use our hands for this. So just a little bit on our gloves. That way we can grab our corn masa ball and it doesn't stick to our hands. Okay? Yeah. And then for this one, for this tamal, we want to put our tamal closer to the wider end of the husk, not to the triangle top. And I'll explain why we're doing this in 1 second. So we're
Now, Luis, do you do anything special with the corn husk? Like, how do you prepare that? How do you get that ready for the perfect tamal?
Okay, so these ones, they are pre-washed with, recommended to use boiling water and or just really hot water. So you can get them to get a little softened up, and then it kind of brings them back to life. You'll be able to smell the corn. Like it's a delicious smell. It's one of my favorite smells in the whole world. Is the corn husk when it's kind of simmering. It starts releasing the smell of the husks. You just got to make sure you get all the corn can have like the little hair, like some hairs. So just make sure you clean them really thoroughly, and they'll be ready to get steamed. Yeah.
Oh, we have some questions.
I'm coming with the mic over here.
Oh, I think you grabbed the wrong. I think that's for the next chef, right? I think that container is for the next chef.
They're labeled differently, right? Yeah. This one is tray 2.
All right.
All right. So we don't want to put the masa we want to put it closer to the wider end and not the narrow end.
Correct. Yes. So we do that. We're gonna do that right now because we're gonna have to close it. This end needs to fold in so it can hold in the steamer. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put our stuffing, our guisado, our red chile guisado, right in the middle. It's okay. And I'm making 2 here for everyone to see. And then after our guisado, we're gonna do our coconut cheese. This is made with cornstarch, potato starch, and coconut oil. Okay.
There's, just so you know up there, Chef, there's some great looking tamales down here. I'm genuinely impressed.
All right.
Now, Chef, you can't just go to the mercado and pick up coconut cheese. So where do you source your ingredients from? Like, where do you like to go? Like, where should we go?
So you know what? I honestly, it's getting better and wider options. Which you can get these cheese in Trader Joe's, Whole Foods.
Okay.
We've also seen them in Safeway. Yeah, you can also get them in Safeway. Yeah, so there's it's growing a lot, so it's more accessible now than it was before. Yeah, so that's the cool part of living here in the Bay Area as well.
Yeah.
So for the closing part, I'm gonna move over to the closing part. We're pretty much just gonna go from one end of the masa all the way to the other. And it does not have to close completely, it's okay. And I just kind of grab it. So for making hundreds and almost thousands of these, you get experience in folding them. So you
Chef,
pretty
can
much
we pause for 1 second here and
Yes.
show that again, because I see a few people are still catching up here.
And I also want to say, don't twist the end. You're going to fold it up. Okay, go ahead, Chef.
Okay. So we pretty much grabbed one end of the tamal right here, where you can still put your finger, and then close it all the way to the end right here.
Yes, I see a couple of y'all doing it.
And then you kind of just roll it up, and then you use your tip to fold it alongside the end of your husk right here. And it pretty much just holds like this.
If you have a perfect tamale, hold it up so I can see it. Yes!
Awesome.
Good teacher.
We also do have a question back here for you, Chef.
Yes.
Regarding the masa and its color.
Correct.
Do you mind asking, Miss?
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm just curious about that color and why it's pink versus the other masa.
Correct, yes. So what we do, we add a little bit of our red chili sauce that we stewed the meat in. That way the masa can already start getting a little bit of that flavor. And if you would have used the green salsa, you would use a little bit of that green. It will paint a little greener than red. That's so that every bite has full flavor and it connects.
So, Chef, do you ever want to make like a super fat tamal, like a really big one with extra masa and extra meat?
You know what? Honestly, not really, for the same reason that I would want to be able to try different, and then not get full with one. You know. But if I'm gonna share it, yeah, I'll do a little burrito tamal or something like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love a burrito tamal.
But yeah, so these get steamed for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on your steamer. And for them to be ready, they have to fully come out of the corn husks. Nothing has to be sticking in there. That's when you know they're fully ready and ready to eat.
And voila, that is how you make a tamale.
Voila, hope you like it.
And we're gonna try some after the show, so get ready.
There's
I know
plenty.
we're all salivating. Chef Luis, thank you so much for coming up here, sharing your passion. Let's hear it for Chef Luis, everybody!
Thank you.
Yes. And let's hear it for us as well. You guys are out there working so hard, making these tamales. Thank you, Chef Luis. Now we have a wonderful surprise for you all. When you work so hard in the kitchen making those tamales with your family, there comes a moment when you need a drink. Can you guys use a drink? Yeah, see, you guys are working too hard. So we've invited the incredible folks from Nito's Backyard and Odin Mezcaleria to join us today to discuss how they would pair these tamales with the mezcal. Please put your hands together for Hugo Gonzalez. Yes. Welcome, Hugo.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you. How are you?
Thanks for being here.
Oh, come here. Give me some sugar. Oh, so good to see you.
He's being nice to the mezcalero. I see it.
All right. We don't sit. We just go right on over. Come on. All right. So what you got for us today?
I have some delicious mezcales tradicionales to taste tonight. Again, my name is Hugo Gonzalez. I'm the agave educator for Odin Mezcaleria, Mezcaleria con Propósito, in Jack London. And the idea of creating that space, it was for educating folks, about what are you drinking. Like in specific, we are talking about tamales, but mezcal also, it's part of the Mexican culture, like deep roots behind it. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. So Hugo, I'm sure the number one question on everyone's mind is what is the difference between tequila and mezcal?
Okay, I guess it's a really good question. So I'm gonna make it easy for you. The word mezcal means cooked agave, so it came from the Nahuatl, and tequila is a cooked agave also. So it's like the only difference is like tequila is made with just one agave in specific, is the tequilana Weber or blue agave, And the mezcal, it's a little bit more complex and más sabroso, and it's like around between 40 and 50 different species of agave. So like, I will say like it's more complex. You know? Yeah.
By a raise of hands, how many of you guys have had mezcal before?
Experts over here.
They're ready then.
Yeah. So
tell us how you would pair each of these tamales with mezcal.
Okay, that's a good question. I guess we're going to start with the hallaca from the chef, the hallaca, the tamale from Venezuela. So with this one, it's the brand is called La Mata. Luis Loye is the guy behind the project. Mezcal is from northern Mexico. Now things are getting a little bit more hot, in the mezcal world. So I choose this one in specific for this tamal because the umami flavor and the onion profile like it has in the specific. So that will be with the first tamal. The second one, I choose this one. It's called Cumbrita de la Sierra. In this part of Mexico, is northern Mexico, also in Chihuahua State. It's in in a region called Batopilas, and the town is called, I don't remember the town, but Dolores Gonzalez is the master distiller. And I choose this one because also, as the chef is from the same state, he's from Juarez. This lechuguilla, in that region, they don't call it mezcal, they call it agave lechuguilla. That's the reason, This one will have a profile flavor more like cotija cheese and really mineral is what you will get in this one. And the next one is not the tamal here yet, but this one is our special batch like we have in the mezcaleria. It was just 500 liter small batch, mezcales tradicionales, and agave espadín is the most common agave in the mezcal production. And it came from the state of Oaxaca, from the high sierras in a region called the Mixteca Alta, and the name of the town is called Chidoco. I would say like this one is, it will pop, like minerality all through because of the kind of distillation, and the kind of still they use in to produce this mezcal.
And we won't be tasting the mezcal en este momento, but it'll be available.
Yeah, later on you will have the chance to try these 3 different expressions, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate and come with me, and let's start the conversation.
Oh, I cannot wait. Can we just try one right now?
Oh, jeez.
Let's go. Thank you. I didn't want to ask, but
Definitely.
thank you.
Why wait?
Also, I just want to say Odin Mezcaleria is a top-notch place. My mom lived in Oaxaca for many years, and when you go and see how the agave plants are literally buried in the earth, smoked, that's where that flavor comes from. In my opinion, unhumble opinion, I think Odin gets it right in terms of offering the variety, regional tastes, flavor profiles, experts that really know what they're talking about. So I can highly recommend their eatery in Oakland. Salud.
So what are we tasting here?
That one is the state of Tamaulipas, bordered with Texas, Gulf of Mexico side. And again, that is an ensemble, it's a blend, 3 different agaves, agave univitata, agave americana, and agave asperrima. Again, this kind of agaves don't have so much sugars, but you can feel that oniony flavor, like.
I smell it.
Yeah.
I smell the onion.
Para todo mal, mezcal.
Para
Salud.
todo bien también.
Salud. Gracias. Cheers. You guys will get some soon, I promise, if you'd like.
Cheers.
Wow.
I know. Sorry, guys. I know.
That was delicious.
It's got some spice. I was taught in Oaxaca that first of all, you don't shot tequila or mezcal because it's a sacred thing that takes long to make. When you're sipping it, you actually I was taught to blow out the smoke, right, to help sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, you just sip it, take your time and revisit, each time. All flavors are really complex because came from different regions in Mexico. We have that idea like all the mezcales tradicionales came from Oaxaca State, but no, it's the entire country, different histories, different agaves, different fermentation process, different distillation process. So it's a lot behind, to have a mezcal tradicional,
Like the tamal, it's a very complex art, folks.
Yeah, it's really unique, and it's been in Mexico for the last at least 400 400 years.
Yeah, again,
Wow.
similar to tamal, a very ancient
tradition.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
So we're going to get ready to bring up our next
Hugo, thank you
tamalero.
so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you so much.
Let's hear from Hugo,
Thank you,
everybody.
Hugo. Gracias.
Thank you, Hugo. I feel all that fire in my belly. Now that courage. Now she got courage. Oh, that was so good. I can't wait for you guys to taste it. It was so smooth, you know. And I've had some mezcal that's been, you know, it'll give it to you. All right, we got one more chef here for you guys tonight. You guys have been so wonderful tonight. Thank you. So let's give ourselves a round of applause again, because you guys are just fabulous. So let's go ahead and introduce our third chef, Anthony Salvadoran. He started his career in fine dining kitchens while working as a ranch hand in Montana. His career has allowed him to develop his culinary skills, working alongside great chefs and cooking crews here in the Bay Area. With the opening of Popoca, Anthony realized his dream of bringing what he loved the most about his heritage, Salvadorian food. Check him out at popocaoakland.com. Please welcome to the stage, Chef Anthony! Yes,
Hello.
welcome.
How
Hi.
are you?
Good, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
Hey, pleasure.
So I work in the food world from the writing perspective. Take a seat, please. Popoca has honestly been the talk of the town, not just of Oakland, literally, but of the Bay Area. One of my friends from El Salvador was like, "There's a new spot open. We need to go." This was when you opened a few months ago, and I was like, "What's it called?" Popoca. So I actually wanted to start with a little bit of the origin. What does Popoca mean, actually, and where did you get that name from?
Yeah, Popoca means to emit smoke, and it's actually from the Nahuatl language. I discovered the word in a museum in El Salvador when I was traveling over there. I tried to go back and forth, and I grew up here. I didn't grow up in El Salvador, so I try to go back and forth and really learn about the cuisine, and I see myself as more of a student, and I come in and try and show what I've learned here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You make more than tamales, but specifically for this event, we are focusing on tamales. So can you break down a Salvadoran tamal? We've had the hallaca from Venezuela.
Yeah.
We've had the border vegan tamal. So you're going to teach us about the Salvadoran tamal. What goes into that?
Well, like everywhere else, there's a lot of different types of tamales in El Salvador. The one that we're going to make today is called tamales-pisques, which is one of my favorites. Super simple. It's very moist. The thing about Salvadorian tamales is, with other tamales, I think you add liquid to your masa, you add fat to your masa, and you try to bring moisture to it in that way. Whereas Salvadorian tamales, you're starting with like a broth, and the broth is flavored with however you want it, and you're adding your masa to the broth, and you're slowly cooking it back up. Mm-hmm. So it thickens, and it's almost like a custard-like texture. Like, it's really good. It's really soft and moist.
Word.
And then we grind our masa too. So the masa that you have on your table is all fresh ground. And yeah, it's really good.
And you travel to El Salvador frequently, back and forth to learn. What was your first time having a tamal in El Salvador? As somebody that grew up in the United States, you go back to your parents' homeland, your dad's homeland, I believe, right?
Yeah.
What was that like the first time you had a tamal there, and did you get to make some in El Salvador?
I did. It was mind-blowing. It was so good. It changed everything I thought about tamales, and I've always loved them, but just having it there and seeing how they make it and all the work that goes into it, there's really a lot of work that goes into it.
Definitely.
And,
I think we learned that tonight.
Yeah, you probably learned that already, right?
I learned that.
But that's what makes it so special is that you're putting in so much work to share it with the people you care about and the people you love. And you know, anything that takes that much hard work is pretty special normally. So
Definitely. And I remember when we were talking in preparation for the event, you mentioned a duck stew or a duck.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
the duck tamales is one of my favorites. Actually, the last time I was there, we went duck hunting. I didn't shoot anything, but I was there looking through the bushes, and we cooked a bunch of ducks, and we made the broth with the duck bones, and made the masa, and then put it into the broth, and slowly brought it up and filled it with the braised duck, and it was just like one of the best things I've ever eaten. And it was all like outside over a wood fire, and with not much cooking equipment, so it was really good. It was great.
Very special when you can go back to where your parents come from and sort of connect and literally ingest and have that sustain your, not your body, but really your spirit, right?
Yeah.
And sort of bringing that back. And you mentioned, popoca smoke and you doing like a wood, that ancient technique. What's challenging about that, and why do that, right? A lot of chefs would just say, hey, I'm just gonna throw it in the oven or do something like that, but you actually maintain an actual fire made with the wood in your restaurant, right? So what are the challenges of that, and what draws you to that really laborious process?
I just like to make my life harder.
Yeah, me too. That's what makes us Latinos.
Yeah. But it just smoke brings so much flavor to what you're making. It really just like, honestly, you can add smoke to anything and it just gets a little bit better. And I think just learning about how people used to cook before we had all the technology we have now, and how people still cook in some places, and the work that goes into that, and it makes everything so much more special, kind of like what I said earlier. But yeah, the wood fire, it gets tricky because like you're controlling like the wood and the embers, and you're controlling like the the steam, and there's just a lot more going on, a lot more to take care of, and it's not as forgiving, so you just really got to watch it. But I think it's one of my favorite ways of cooking, for sure.
Definitely. I find that when I'm cooking, not to your level, nowhere near that, but the more that you're sort of observed and attuned into what you're doing, and it's sort of like a synergetic experience, right, where you're really attached and connected to the process in ways that it's really hard to do in the modern world. So I do truly admire what you're doing and bringing focus to not only El Salvador cuisine, but also just these sort of older techniques that it could be super easy to just let that go by the wayside in the modern times of the Bay Area, where they have self-driving cars and all these new things. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
That being said, you also have a parent from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
And what does that kind of add to your food? What sort of fusions or inspirations do you get from that side?
That was actually my first intro to tamales, was actually the pastel, which is like it's almost like a Puerto Rican tamal, but it's made with banana leaf, and it's the same banana leaf, but it's made with plantain inside of it. And I remember during the holidays, we used to my aunt would make them, or my grandma would make them, and we'd go and like line up and just try and get as many as we can, and like stick them in our freezer, and like we'll hit up my cousin and be like, hey, you got any more in your freezer? And like, that was, yeah. And that was the best. So just growing up on Puerto Rican food, like, and Salvadoran food, there was just so much flavor in my life, and I'm really, this is really special.
Best of
I'm
both
really
worlds.
blessed with that. Yeah. That was really cool.
So we're gonna get ready to move here onto the demo side, and this will be our final tamal. I believe it should be labeled 3 on your trays. And as I was walking around, I noticed the sticker can be kind of hidden, so make sure you kind of turn your tray there to see. But let's go ahead and move to the table here.
All right.
All right, get ready, everybody.
Get my apron.
It's time to make a tamal.
3rd time's a charm, folks.
This is it.
If you feel like you haven't nailed it yet, I believe in you. This is your chance right here.
This one's a little on the easier side. All right.
So when you're starting out, Chef, you start with your stew. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when I'm starting out, I start with my my broth. So I make like a really flavorful broth. I put like carrots, onions, celery, some spices, and some herbs. There's actually relajo, which is one of the base to a lot of our sauces in Salvadorian food, and it's like it's a spice mix that has like star anise, dry peppers, chocolate, just cumin, tons of different spices in it. So that's all kind of in your masa already. But
Thank
yeah,
you, Chef.
that's pretty much it. Yeah. So right here, start with this.
So take us through the ingredients.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you through the ingredients. So we have this is our masa. So our masa's already been cooked in the broth. So it's ready to go. You'll see it's pretty moist, it's pretty soft. So you're gonna wanna use a spoon for this, which you all have. And you're basically just going to take a good amount, spoon it into you can kind of mix it a little bit, soften it up too, and you can just spoon it right onto your tamal right here. and you kind of just spread it out like that. But
Now,
it's
Chef, you want to spoon it? You don't want to put oil on your gloves and.
Don't want to put oil on your gloves. You're just going to keep your hands clean. You're just going to kind of just spoon it on right like that. There's a lot of fat inside the tamal already, so it'll kind of come off of the tamal after you cook it, after you steam it. And I just kind of like to make a little well for my beans, which is going to go next.
So a little bit of a divot, kind of, to put the other ingredients into.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit of a divot. And then we're going to take, you got black.
Wait, I got a question. Hold on, I'm coming.
What you got?
These high heels will only let me go so fast. Oh, you want the camera to change? Okay, camera, change, done.
So we've spooned the masa onto the banana
So yeah, you
leaf.
just kind of spoon it on. You make a little well. You really just kind of like open that up a little bit, right?
That's a pro tip right there.
It's pro tip. And then you're gonna take these beans, and these beans have been cooked for about 8 hours. And the concept behind the beans is they're really moist, but there's not a lot of water in them. So as the water comes out, you're adding in some kind of fat, like, maybe it's lard, maybe it's like, maybe it's duck fat. These ones have olive oil in it. So they're actually really healthy and delicious.
Quick question for people like me that usually either have an abuela or somebody making these, shout them out.
Yeah.
Or if you've never made them before, where are you getting these ingredients from?
Yeah, so the masa, we actually grind the corn fresh, so we get it from the restaurant. And the banana leaves, you could pick them up at like a mercado, at like a Latinx store. And sometimes they're frozen. If you're lucky, they're fresh. And you always want to kind of cook them a little bit. I use a torch, or sometimes I'll just hit them over the fire just for a quick second. It's really cool in El Salvador. It's so hot, you can just leave them out in the sun, and they just like get soft. It's the best. But so you kind of just want to heat them up a little bit, make sure they're really clean, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then beans, you can just buy black beans, blend them, cook them really slow. All right. And then, so we're just gonna add our beans, and we're just gonna put like a good amount on there. I'm gonna cheat because I got an extra spoon.
Just out of curiosity, what else is going into our tamal here, just so we don't overload on the beans? That's it? Okay.
This is it. You can load it up. Tamales pisques is a very simple tamal. It's kind of what you eat with it, and it's just like about the corn being really like fresh and delicious, and it's just got like the texture, and we're gonna garnish it, and it's gonna be really good. So yeah, that's what we got right there.
A member just said the beans look like chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. They don't taste like it. All right. And then, so this is my favorite fold. I'm going to teach you my favorite fold. Are y'all ready? Yeah? Cool, let's do it. So I'm kind of just going to come in right here, and I'm just going to fold it this way, just like almost like right in half, right there.
Fold it in half, everyone.
Mm-hmm. And it's my favorite fold because it's the easiest one. And then we're just going to fold it like that one more time, right? And then we're going to bend it back just like that. Oh, there we go, a little lower, sorry.
Just bend it back.
And bend it back just like that,
There you go.
right? So I'll do it again real quick just so you can see it. So we're going to fold it like this, right over. We're going to fold it in half again, right? And then we're going to fold it this way. And then we're going to fold it this way.
And the other side.
That was easy.
Yeah, super easy.
Thank you.
And then we're just going to turn them over. And like what I normally do is I just, you're going to make like probably 50 of these at one time. And I just kind of stack them up down so that they kind of, they hold up and they don't like, if you do it like this, they're going to pop up. But once they steam, the banana leaf just stays closed. So it's really, it's quite simple.
A question I had is what sort of flavor profile does the banana leaf give that you maybe don't get with corn husk, let's say?
To me, it's almost like nutty. It gives just it just gives an extra flavor that's very nostalgic that you don't really get with corn husk. It also locks in a lot of the steam and it really holds all that liquid in there, right? So with this tamal, it's just bean, but sometimes you got a lot of other liquid in there, and it just kind of, it really locks everything in, so yeah.
I just want to say these people are professionals.
That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, whoa.
They are wrapping these tamales. They're ready for the line to make this happen.
if you ever want to volunteer at the restaurant and help us make tamales.
Yeah. You got a spot on the line?
Yeah, we got you. There you go.
And then, so these are going final steps here.
This
just
is
like
it.
That, you toss
So because this is live and it's magic.
Yeah.
I got some made right here.
Ooh.
And I'm just gonna show you how I like to eat them personally. So I'm gonna pop these open, and as you can see, it's kind of like, there you go. You see how it kind of set like that?
Yum.
Right? Super moist.
That looks delicious.
Yeah, it's so simple, but it's
There's
so
a big
delicious.
debate in Mexico versus the North, which uses the corn husk, and the South.
Yeah.
I'm a Southerner in the sense that I love these, but some people don't like the plátano leaves.
Really? I think it's so good. I mean, I like them both, to be honest. I love a good
can't,
Mexican.
Yeah, can't go wrong with the tamal.
Yeah,
but-
it's super good.
Chef, I got a question for you right here from the audience. Could you
What you
please
got?
stand up, my love, and say your name and your question for the chef?
My name's May. Thank you so much.
Hi, May.
You mentioned that we had to steam it, but you didn't tell us for how long.
Oh, okay. You're going to want to steam it for about 45 minutes. But that's always the best. It's always the best amount of time. Like a low steam for 45 minutes, not too high because you'll might pop the banana leaf, might explode outside of it because it's really moist. So just about 45 minutes.
Chef, we got another question.
What you
All
got?
right, get ready. Here we go. Here you go.
Hi, Adriana. What's the difference between boiling and steaming, and which do you think is easier?
Hi, Adriana. So boiling, you would be putting it directly into the liquid, right? It's going to dilute a lot of the flavor. So when you steam it, you're really going to hold a lot of the flavor. And actually, when I make masa, I over-salt it a little bit because even from the steam, that water really takes away from that salt. So I always say steam. You can boil it too. I've seen people do that as well. But I just like steam because it holds a lot more flavor. Yeah.
Oh, we got we got more questions.
Yeah.
Shoot.
They're like, oh, the chef's
I
gonna
love
eat. Let me start
questions.
asking questions and not let him eat.
All right, stand up,
Ask
my
away,
love.
babe.
Another question for the chef, and say your name and your question.
Hi, Chef. Thank you. I had a question. If you're going to make a bunch of these in advance, do you steam them all first and then freeze them?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a really good question. I like to steam a lot first. So you steam them first, you steam them right away. And then you can freeze them, you can hold them in the fridge. In the fridge, they'll probably last about a week. If you freeze them, they'll last forever. And then you want to bring them back to temp and you just re-steam them and they'll be just as good as the first time. Yeah.
Thank you, Chef. We have one more question back here on this back table.
What you got?
Hi, Chef. Thank
Hi.
you. I'm Kat.
Hi, Kat.
And my question is, have you ever tried to air fry them?
Ooh.
That's the berry innovation right there.
I like that. No, I haven't tried that, but I might give it a shot.
I imagine the outside would be ultra crispy, right? And I don't know if the
Yeah.
inside would get.
Well, you can steam them first. So like at the restaurant, what we actually do is we steam them, and then we put them in our embers, like where our fire is, and we let them get really toasty and smoky there. And then we open them up, and the outside's all like blackened and stuff. So it's really good. Yeah.
Delish. What about an Instapot? Can you do an Instapot?
I
Now I want to know.
I think you could do literally anything in an Instapot. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And so we're gonna garnish it. Is there any more questions? No, we're good. Okay, we're gonna garnish this. So this is salsa roja. So this is a sauce made with tomato, garlic, onion. There's cilantro in it, cooked cilantro, which I love that flavor, and relajo, which is that spice mix. And I really like to just put this, or serve this on my tamales. It's really delicious, and you kind of just want to get that oil emulsified in there.
For non-Spanish speakers, relajo, it means like chaos, no? Like
It does.
mess,
It
right?
does. And I think they call it that because there's so many spices in there, right? So it's really like it's really spicy. So and then we're gonna go. This is a little bit of crema right here. So this crema we make in house. We culture it in house, and we're just gonna kind of mix it up a little bit, make sure it's nice and good. I love a little crema on mine, so we're just gonna add that crema right there, right in the middle like that. I should just garnish both. I don't know what I'm thinking here.
Got about a minute
One
left
for you.
to down these, chef. We're gonna test.
Let's
your
do it.
minute
It's gonna be
speed.
quick.
So salsa crema on top.
Yep. Another component in the relajo is actually sesame seed. And I love sesame seed, so I put a little extra on top as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not super traditional, but I just love the flavor.
Is that like your touch, or is that something you?
This is
picked up?
me. This is my touch. Yeah, for sure. And then,
Could you do me a favor? Will you hold that plate up just a little bit so the audience can see? Oh my gosh.
They call it the culinary arts for a reason.
yep. And because it's the holidays, I love some flowers, some edible flowers. They're super. They're kind of peppery. They're marigolds. And they're very, they're very this season. So we'll garnish it with a little bit of marigolds as well. And that's how you'll eat it.
Wow.
What a
so pretty.
flowery, perfect way to end our entire night. Thank you so much, Chef. If we can get a round of applause for Chef Anthony. And if we can have all the chefs come back up to the front, please. We have Chef Anthony Salguero from Popoca in Oakland, Luis from Sabor, and Victor Aguilera from Arepas and BC in San Francisco. Gracias a todos. Hugo, también from Odin. Gracias.
Yes. We want to thank everyone who put this event together, KQED live staff, the AV team, Latinx Initiative, and No Crumbs crew. Let's give them a round of applause. And I also want to give a special shout out to my co-hostess tonight, Alan Chazarro.
Gracias. Back at you, Dulce.
And me, Dulce de Leche.
Hey!
Yes! Well, thank you all for coming out and spending the evening with us. Gracias y buenas noches. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. They'll all be in the hallway. There'll be mezcal available, food to take home. Thank you guys for all coming out and participating. Buenas noches.